A surprise attack at an international conference in Chicago pulls Zephyr Nocturne, a reclusive former agent, into the hunt for the quantum nexus, a device capable of manipulating global networks. He confronts the shadow of an old betrayer and decides to return to the underworld to prevent disaster. The first encounter with Sergei Voidheart's henchmen leads to a dramatic shootout by the river. The sound of shattering glass echoed throughout the upscale hotel hall in downtown Chicago. Like a nightmare that suddenly struck. The crowd of international leaders panicked and scattered as a dark figure lunged in through a high window, moving as swiftly as the night wind. Zephyr Nocturne, quietly sitting in a corner of a cafe by Lake Michigan a few miles away, suddenly looked up. He was no longer an agent, just an ordinary man with a goatee and an old coat, trying to forget a past filled with blood and conspiracy. But his sharp gaze still revealed a warrior's instinct as news of the attack flashed on his phone screen. The incident happened too quickly. The attacker, a tall man with cold eyes, took down the security team with precise punches, using familiar Krav Maga techniques. He seized the quantum nexus, a device small enough to fit in the palm of his hand, but capable of hacking into the global satellite network, causing economic and military chaos. In just a few seconds, he vanished over the rooftop, leaving behind debris and screams. Zephyr recognized that style. It was exactly how Leora Wraith, his former teammate, used to train, but Leora was dead. Or at least he thought so. He stood up, leaving the cafe with calm steps, but his heart raced. Chicago at night was cold. The wind from Lake Michigan carried a fishy smell. Zephyr had once been the top agent of the secret organization Phantom Guard, specializing in hunting down global threats. But after a failed mission in Moscow, where he lost his dearest loved one, he chose to live in seclusion. Now, the past was calling his name. His phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. The quantum nexus has been taken. Sergei Voidheart is back. Find me at Millennium Park. Zephyr clenched his fists, feeling adrenaline surge, the feeling he had tried to bury. Sergei Voidheart, the Russian crime lord hiding in Moscow, had once been his target. The man had a nihilistic heart, willing to sell anything to dominate. If the quantum nexus fell into his hands, Chicago would just be the beginning of a greater disaster. He sped through the neon-lit streets on his motorcycle, heading toward Millennium Park. The atmosphere was tense, as if the city was holding its breath, waiting for the storm. At the park, under the dim lights of Cloud Gate, the giant bean-shaped sculpture reflecting shimmering lights, an older man awaited him. It was Harlan Gray, the former commander of the Phantom Guard, his hair silver, but still exuding authority. "We need you." "Zephyr," Harlan said in a deep voice. "The quantum nexus can control everything, from stocks to nuclear weapons." Zephyr shook his head, his gaze distant as he looked out at the lake. "I've left that behind. This life suits me better." He pointed toward the shimmering waves under the moonlight. Harlan did not give up. He recounted the attack, about Sergei Voidheart and the underground network in Moscow. Zephyr listened, but his heart remained resolute. Then suddenly, a masked man burst in from the bushes, gun drawn. "Everyone down," he growled, aiming at Harlan. Zephyr quickly observed a Glock 19, the type used by professional assassins, not petty thieves. Something was off. Before Zephyr could act, a horrifying explosion shook Chicago. The park swayed, trees toppled, and a hidden bomb exploded from underground. Dust and smoke filled the air. Screams echoed. Zephyr crawled out from under a broken bench, blood running down his forehead. But he remained calm. Harlan lay motionless under the debris. He checked for a pulse. No signs of life. The police arrived quickly, but Zephyr had vanished into the night. In his mind, The pieces began to fit together. The explosion was not random. The quantum nexus was the key to manipulating the security system, and someone was using it to eliminate those who knew too much. Zephyr knew he could no longer stand on the sidelines. He raced along the Chicago River, the cold wind hitting his face. As a black SUV sped up from behind, the chase began. Zephyr revved the throttle, weaving across the bridge. But the SUV was right on his tail. A man leaned out, firing a burst from an automatic weapon. Zephyr ducked. The bullet grazed the car mirror, shattering it. He spun the bike 180 degrees, facing the enemy. Sergei's henchman, for sure. He drew the Beretta hidden under his coat, shooting accurately at the leading tire. The SUV flipped over, crashing into the bridge railing, but two more men jumped out, charging at him with knives and fists. Zephyr leaped from the bike, delivering a Muay Thai kick to the chest of the first man, sending him flying into the river. The second man swung a knife, but Zephyr smoothly dodged, using a judo throw to lock his arm and break his wrist. A cracking sound echoed. The man screamed in pain. Zephyr delivered a Krav Maga punch to the throat, finishing him off swiftly. He searched their pockets, finding an encryption device with coordinates in Moscow. Breathing heavily, Zephyr looked out at the shimmering Chicago River under the city lights. He knew a new journey was beginning. Sergei Voidheart was waiting in Moscow, and the quantum nexus was a deadly weapon. But within him, the pain of losing loved ones from the past surged, driving him forward. Could he trust anyone, or was it all just an illusion? Which area are you listening to this story from? And what time is it where you are right now? Leave a comment below so I know you are still healthy and fully focused on this story. My dear friend, we will continue right after this. From the remnants of the explosion at the cafe by Lake Michigan, Zephyr Nocturne traced the clues leading to Moscow, where Sergei Voidheart was hiding. He reunited with his old teammate Leora Wraith, who revealed the betrayal within their old organization. Together, they confronted a group of Russian assassins in a dark alley, culminating in a tense car chase. Raindrops fell gently on the surface of the Chicago River, blurring the reflections of neon lights. Zephyr Nocturne stood by the bridge railing, holding the encryption device taken from Sergei Voidheart's henchman, his gaze scanning the dark waters. The coordinates were clear, an address in the suburbs of Moscow. The past rushed back like a cold wind, reminding him of the last time he faced Sergei, the man with a nihilistic heart, who had betrayed the Phantom Guard in pursuit of power. Zephyr clenched his fists, feeling the pain of loss still smoldering. He could not let the quantum nexus fall into his hands. The flight to Moscow was waiting, and he had to act immediately. The flight dragged on, the air in the cabin stifling. Zephyr sat quietly, reviewing data on his laptop, images of the attack in Chicago, signal traces from the quantum nexus leading straight to Moscow. He wondered if Harlan Gray was truly dead, or if it was all part of a larger game. As the plane landed at Domodedovo Airport, snow fell thickly, the cold wind biting. Moscow greeted him with a deadly silence. The grey buildings under the overcast sky. He rented an old car, driving straight to the address, an underground bar in the Arbat district, where the criminal world gathered. The bar was shrouded in cigarette smoke and heavy electronic music. Zephyr stepped in, his black coat blending with the crowd of Russian yakuza and mercenaries. He sat at the counter, ordered a vodka, and scanned the room. Then she appeared, Leora Wraith, with long black hair and a ghostly gaze like a spectre from the past. She sat down beside him, whispering, "I knew you would come. Zephyr, Sergei is hunting the quantum nexus, and he has an insider in the CIA." Zephyr frowned, his instincts warning him she was untrustworthy. Leora had been a teammate, But her betrayal in the old mission had cost him everything. "Why help me?" he asked, gripping the glass tightly. Leora spoke quickly. Sergei Voidheart was hiding in a fortress on the outskirts, using the quantum nexus to manipulate the black market. She revealed the betrayal within the Phantom Guard. Some agents had sold information to him. But before she could finish, the door of the bar swung open. 3 tall men entered, wearing black leather, their eyes scanning like wolves hunting prey. They were Sergei's henchmen, for sure. One recognized Zephyr, pulling out a gun. "There he is!" he shouted. Chaos erupted. Zephyr flipped a table, using it as a shield. Charging at the nearest man, a Krav Maga punch struck the throat, causing him to drop to the ground. Leora pulled a dagger from her boot, stabbing quickly into the shoulder of the second man. Blood splattering. The third man fired a volley, shattering a bottle behind the counter. Zephyr rolled, dodging bullets, then delivered a Muay Thai kick to the knee of the man. A cracking sound echoed. The man screamed in pain but still swung his fist. Zephyr blocked with a judo throw, twisting to lock his neck and slam him down. Leora finished off the second man with a fatal stab, her gaze as cold as a ghost. They bolted outside. Jumping into Zephyr's car, the engine roared, speeding through the snow-covered streets of Moscow. Behind them, 2 black SUVs chased, headlights glaring. "They know us," Leora shouted, pulling a gun from her bag. A barrage of bullets from the SUVs shattered the rear window. Zephyr swerved, slipping through a narrow alley, tires sliding on the snow. The lead SUV accelerated, crashing into the back of their car. Zephyr's vehicle swayed, but he remained calm, hitting the gas to burst onto the main road. Leora leaned out, firing back, hitting the tire of one SUV. It flipped over, rolling several times in the snow, but the second one stayed close. A soldier leaning out with a grenade launcher. A flash of light glimmered from the barrel. Zephyr saw it coming, spun the car 180 degrees. Facing the enemy, the grenade flew, exploding beside them, blowing apart a corner of the street. The car tipped over, and Zephyr and Leora rolled out. Using the vehicle as cover, he shot accurately at the grenade launcher, causing the man to fall. The SUV lost control, crashing into a lamppost. They ran into a dark alley, panting. Zephyr turned to Leora, his voice tense. "You're hiding something." "Why is Sergei hunting me?" Leora looked at him, her eyes revealing hesitation, a symbol of deceit. "Because you know the secret about the quantum nexus. It doesn't just hack satellites, it is connected to your family's death." Her words cut into Zephyr's heart, awakening the rage from the past. He tightened his grip on the gun, growing more suspicious. But for now, they had to survive. The sound of police sirens echoed in the distance, and Moscow was becoming a deadly trap. Zephyr knew the journey was just beginning, and trust was as fragile as melting snow. Was Leora an ally or a ghost of betrayal after the bloody chase in Moscow? Zephyr Nocturne and Leora Wraith hurriedly boarded a plane back to Chicago, carrying clues about the quantum nexus. But in the dark cabin, Zephyr couldn't help but think about Leora's words, the secret about his family's death. A feeling of unease surged, like a cold wind creeping through the cracks. The plane landed at O'Hare Airport in the dead of night, snow gently falling, blanketing the city. They drove straight to the CIA's secret headquarters, a high-rise disguised as a commercial office in downtown Chicago. The atmosphere inside was heavy, fluorescent lights illuminating flickering data screens. Zephyr entered the meeting room, where CIA agents were analyzing data from the encryption device he had obtained. Leora followed, her gaze evasive, like a ghost hiding something. "We have the coordinates of Sergei Voidheart's fortress on the outskirts of Moscow," Zephyr said, his voice deep. tossing the device onto the table. A young agent named Marcus typed rapidly on the keyboard, displaying a digital map. But as the screen zoomed in, Zephyr noticed something strange, a hidden line of code, only visible if one knew how. It led to a secret account, Leora's account. He turned sharply, his gaze sharp. "What are you hiding about the quantum nexus? This is your code." Leora paled, but quickly regained her composure. "That's a trap from Sergei. He wants you to doubt me." Her words sounded convincing, but Zephyr sensed the lies, like a night tune that had lost its rhythm. Before he could ask more, the red lights flashed, and the alarm blared. "Breach!" Marcus shouted, rushing to the door. A team of Sergei's henchmen, clad in black armor, kicked through the high windows. Dropping ropes from the roof, they charged in like a pack of wolves. Glock handguns and daggers drawn. Chaos erupted in the high-rise building. Zephyr rolled, dodging a barrage of bullets that shattered the conference table. He lunged at the nearest man, delivering a Krav Maga punch to the throat, causing him to drop. Gun falling, Leora drew a gun from her belt, firing 2 shots into the shoulder of another man. Blood splattering, but they were outnumbered. 6 men charged in from the hallway, cornering the group. Marcus was knocked down, blood streaming from his head. Zephyr sprang up, using a judo throw to lock the second man's arm, spinning to slam him into the wall. The impact echoing, he picked up the fallen Glock, shooting accurately at the leg of the third man, causing him to scream in pain. Leora shouted, "The emergency exit." She dashed into the hallway, but a man blocked her path. Swinging a dagger, Zephyr ran after her, delivering a Muay Thai kick to the man's chest, sending him flying into the elevator. The knife grazed his shoulder, tearing his shirt. Blood oozing hot. He gritted his teeth, retaliating with a flurry of lightning-fast Wing Chun strikes to the man's wrist and face. The man collapsed, but 2 more charged up from the stairs. MP5, submachine guns firing continuously. The walls shattered, glass shards raining down. Zephyr pulled Leora down to the floor, using the table as a shield. "Did you know they were coming?" he growled, suspicion rising. Leora fired back, taking down 1 man, but her eyes showed hesitation, like a ghost calculating. "No, they have been tracking us from Moscow," her words echoed. But Zephyr did not believe her. He dashed out, using parkour skills to leap over the table, kicking the MP5 from the remaining man's hands. The man swung a fist, but Zephyr smoothly dodged, using Aikido to lock his neck and tighten. A cracking sound echoed. The man fell still. The building shook as a smoke grenade was thrown in, white smoke enveloping everything. Zephyr coughed violently, but instinct guided him. He rolled, hearing footsteps, then threw a blind punch into the shadow. He hit the chest of 1 man, sending him down. They ran upstairs, where the elevator was locked. Leora hacked the control panel, and the door opened. But inside, 2 men waited, knives gleaming. Zephyr charged in first, blocking the blades with the gun's handle. Then, delivering a spinning taekwondo kick to the man's shoulder. The man screamed, the knife falling. Leora stabbed the second man in the leg, but he surged up, pinning her down. Zephyr did not hesitate, shooting a round into his shoulder. Blood splattering, they pulled each other into the elevator, the door closing just as the last bullets hit the metal. The elevator descended, the air stifling. Zephyr panted, wiping blood from his face. Turning to Leora, "You sold us out. That hidden code is yours." Leora shook her head, her eyes revealing pain. Or was it feigned? "Trust me." "Zephyr, Sergei wants you dead because you know too much about the past. Her words stirred memories the death of his family in Moscow, due to an accident orchestrated by Sergei. Doubts grew larger, like darkness swallowing light. They burst out of the building, jumping into the car. Speeding through the snow-covered streets of Chicago, Zephyr knew he had to return to Moscow to face Sergei, but with Leora by his side. Everything felt like a trap. Was she an ally or an enemy? Rage surged, driving him forward. After the bloody raid at the CIA headquarters in Chicago, Zephyr Nocturne and Leora Wraith decided to fly straight to Moscow to hunt down Sergei Voidheart. They infiltrated the underground world beneath the city, where darkness concealed deadly secrets. Encountering Dmitri Frostbite, Sergei's loyal henchman, in a black market. A fierce battle of knives and hand-to-hand combat ensued. Through this, Zephyr's personal motive for revenge related to the death of a loved one was further revealed, shaking the trust between them even more. The Chicago sky was still snowing when Zephyr Nocturne and Leora Wraith boarded a private plane at the private airport. The atmosphere in the cabin was heavy, the smell of smoke from the raid still clinging to their clothes. Zephyr sat quietly, cleaning his Beretta, his gaze sweeping over Leora as she checked data on her laptop. Her words about the death of his family still echoed, an accident in Moscow orchestrated by Sergei Voidheart, but he didn't fully believe it. Leora was like a ghost, always hiding something. "We go to Moscow to finish this," he said, his voice low. Leora nodded, but her eyes avoided his. The plane took off, leaving Chicago behind like a fading memory. Landing in Moscow in the dead of night, the snow fell thickly, the cold wind cutting through flesh like a blade. They hired an old Volga, driving through the dark suburban streets, where the dim streetlights illuminated the drab concrete buildings. Their destination was the underground black market, hidden behind an abandoned warehouse in the Zamoskvorekia district. Zephyr stepped out of the car, his black coat blending with the darkness, feeling the adrenaline surge, that familiar night wind from the past. Leora walked beside him, a dagger hidden in her shoe, whispering, "This market is Sergei's den. Dmitri Frostbite will be here. He's as cold as ice. Loyal to the death." The steel door creaked open under the code from the CIA data. Inside, the air was stifling with the smell of metal and gunpowder. The black market appeared stalls filled with illegal weapons, hacking equipment, and encrypted data being traded by tattooed Russian yakuza. The neon lights flickered, the whispers of exchanges mingling with heavy electronic music. Zephyr disguised himself as a dealer, wearing sunglasses, quietly observing. In a distant corner, Dmitri Frostbite stood tall with a silver beard and cold eyes like the Russian winter. He was exchanging with a group of mercenaries, holding a suitcase, possibly containing clues about the quantum nexus. Zephyr moved closer, but a yakuza blocked his path, the dagger glinting. "Who are you?" the man growled. Zephyr did not respond, lunging forward with a Muay Thai kick to the stomach, sending the man crashing into a stall, weapons clattering. The noise attracted attention. Dmitri turned around, his gaze locking onto Zephyr, recognizing him immediately. "You dare come here?" He laughed coldly, drawing a curved combat knife. The mercenaries charged in, the black market turning into a battlefield. Leora drew her gun, shooting a man in the shoulder, blood splattering, but they were outnumbered. 5 men surrounding Zephyr. The battle erupted. Zephyr dodged a knife thrust from the first man, using a judo move to lock the arm and break it, the crack echoing amidst the screams. The second man swung a fist, but he blocked with Wing Chun, delivering a rapid series of strikes to the face and chest, causing the man to stagger. Blood stained his hands, hot and fresh. Dmitri lunged forward, the knife glinting like ice, stabbing repeatedly. Zephyr rolled to evade, delivering a taekwondo kick to the man's knee, pushing him back. But Dmitri retaliated with a heavy punch, hitting Zephyr's shoulder, causing a sharp pain. He gritted his teeth, using Krav Maga to grab the man's wrist, spinning to throw him down. The knife fell, but Dmitri got back up, choking him from behind. Leora screamed, rushing in to help, stabbing the knife into Dmitri's arm. He let go, blood flowing, but laughed loudly. "You betray Sergei." "Leora, he knows everything." His words cut like a knife, stirring doubt in Zephyr. He pushed Dmitri away, delivering a Muay Thai punch to the chin, making him stagger. The remaining mercenaries charged in, one pulling out a handgun. Zephyr jumped parkour over the stall, kicking the gun away, then using Aikido to choke the man, tightening until he passed out. Leora took down the last man with a fatal stab. The black market now filled with bodies and blood. Zephyr pinned Dmitri down, the knife at his throat. "Where is the quantum nexus?" Dmitri sneered, blood oozing from his mouth. "You think it's that easy? Sergei uses it to take revenge on you, because you killed his brother in Moscow." His words stunned Zephyr. The past rushed back the failed mission years ago, when he shot a henchman of Sergei, who turned out to be the man's brother. But it was not an accident. Sergei had killed his family for revenge. The pain surged, like the night wind sweeping away reason. He tightened his grip on the knife, but Leora pulled him back. "Don't. We need him alive." Dmitri broke free, throwing a smoke grenade. The white smoke billowed, and he ran away. Zephyr and Leora rushed outside, jumping into the car, speeding through the snow. Behind them, the Yakuza chased in SUVs. The chase began again, the tires skidding on the runway. Zephyr knew his motive for revenge was now clearer, not just justice, but also avenging his family. But Leora, did she know everything? Doubts grew larger, like darkness swallowing Moscow. They had to survive to face Sergei. But trust was crumbling. After the intense chase from the black market in Moscow, Zephyr Nocturne and Leora Wraith temporarily escaped. But the clues from Dmitri Frostbite forced them to dig deeper into Sergei Voidheart's lair. They decided to infiltrate the subway system to reach the suburban fortress, where the quantum nexus might be hidden. In a surprise ambush, Zephyr was separated from Leora and had to face a group of mercenaries. He discovered that Sergei was planning to use the quantum nexus to attack Chicago. After a daring escape, Zephyr received a mysterious message from an old ally, urging him to delve deeper into the conspiracy. Heavy snow fell on the streets of Moscow, turning the roads into a slippery ice sheet. Zephyr Nocturne pressed the gas pedal of the old Volga, weaving through traffic, with the sound of Yakuza sirens behind him. Leora Wraith sat beside him, gun in hand, her eyes scanning back. "They're catching up," she shouted. Zephyr swerved into a nearby subway station, the car stopping abruptly at the entrance. They jumped out, rushing down the dark stairs. The sound of footsteps pounding behind them. The underground air was suffocating, the smell of metal and human breath mingling, the flickering neon lights illuminating the graffiti-stained walls. The subway station was deserted at this late hour, with only a few drunken passengers scattered about. Zephyr and Leora blended into the crowd, quickly buying tickets and jumping onto the last train heading to the suburbs. The train rolled out, the sound of the metal tracks echoing. They sat in the last car, catching their breath. "Sergei's fortress is 3 miles from the last station," Zephyr whispered, checking the map on his phone. Leora nodded, but he noticed her hesitant gaze, like a ghost calculating her own move. The past between them still haunted. She had saved him in old Moscow, but she was also indirectly responsible for the death of his family. Suddenly, the train shook violently. The lights went out. Screams erupted from the front car. Ambush, Zephyr roared. Jumping up, 4 mercenaries in black armor charged in from the connecting door. Guns and daggers at the ready. They were Sergei's henchmen. For sure. One man fired a burst, shattering the seats. Zephyr pushed Leora down to the floor, rolled to evade, then delivered a Muay Thai kick to the nearest man's chest, sending him crashing into the glass door. The glass shattered, cold wind rushing in from the dark tunnel. Leora pulled out a knife, rushing at the second man, stabbing quickly into his shoulder. Blood splattered, but the man got back up, choking her. Zephyr had no time to help. The other 2 men surrounded him. One swung a curved knife. Zephyr smoothly dodged, using a judo move to lock the arm and throw him down, the knife clattering on the train floor. The second man pulled out a gun, firing close. The bullet grazed his ear, hot and stinging. Zephyr lunged in, delivering a rapid series of Wing Chun strikes to the man's wrist and face. Causing the gun to drop, he choked the man with Krav Maga, forcing him down to the floor until he passed out. The train stopped abruptly in the tunnel. The doors flung open. The mercenaries pushed Leora out, separating her from Zephyr. "Run!" she shouted before disappearing into the darkness. Zephyr jumped after her, but 3 more men were waiting in the dark tunnel, flashlights blinding him. The air was damp, the smell of oil and mud. One man charged at him with an iron rod. Swinging hard, Zephyr dodged, delivering a taekwondo kick to the man's knee. The sound of a crack echoing. The man screamed in pain, collapsing. But the second man punched from behind, hitting him in the back, causing sharp pain. Zephyr turned, using Aikido to lock the man's neck and throw him down, the man's head smashing against the train track. The last man pulled out a submachine gun, firing continuously. Zephyr rolled into the darkness, dodging bullets that kicked up clouds of dirt. He picked up the fallen iron rod, charging out like the wind, striking the man's hand hard, making the gun drop. The 2 fought in close combat. The man swung heavy punches. Zephyr dodged nimbly, delivering a Muay Thai punch to the chin, blood oozing from the man's mouth. The man choked him, pushing him against the tunnel wall. Zephyr gritted his teeth, using his knee to thrust into the man's stomach, then countering with judo. The man collapsed, motionless, breathing heavily. Zephyr searched the man's pockets, finding a data device. Opening it, he saw the plan Sergei Voidheart was using the quantum nexus to hack Chicago's security system, causing mass explosions, avenging his brother. His heart tightened. The plan targeted the city he once protected and could kill thousands. The pain of the past surged. His family died because of Sergei, and now the man wanted to take more lives. He had to stop it. Running through the dark tunnel, Zephyr searched for Leora, but she had vanished. The sound of footsteps faded away. Perhaps she had escaped. He climbed to the surface through an emergency exit, the cold snow hitting his face. His phone vibrated a message from an unknown number, an old ally from the Phantom Guard. "The quantum nexus is in Sergei's fortress, but Leora is not to be trusted. Find me at the old station. 2 a.m. Zephyr tightened his grip on the phone, suspicion rising. Was Leora a betraying ghost, or was the message a trap? The Moscow night wind swept away his thoughts, urging him to move forward. He knew he had to face Sergei alone, avenge, and save Chicago. But the conspiracy ran deeper, and every step was a deadly trap. Returning to Chicago to gather evidence from an old ally, Zephyr Nocturne was pursued by Leora Wraith, who turned out to be a double agent working for Sergei Voidheart. A gunfight and close combat on a high-rise rooftop led to the betrayal being exposed, causing Zephyr to painfully realize the truth. He barely escaped, but his trust was completely shattered. preparing for the final infiltration into Sergei's lair in Moscow. The weak morning sunlight filtered through the skyscrapers in Chicago. But Zephyr Nocturne felt a bone-chilling cold. After escaping from the subway tunnel in Moscow, he took the earliest flight back, his mind spinning with the mysterious message Leora is not to be trusted. He knew he had to meet an old ally at an abandoned warehouse by Lake Michigan to gather evidence about the quantum nexus. The taxi stopped in front of the warehouse, the lake wind carrying a strong, fishy smell. Zephyr stepped inside, his Beretta hidden under his coat, instincts on high alert. The air inside was musty, dim light filtering through broken windows, illuminating old crates. The old ally, a former agent named Elias, waited for him in a dark corner. The quantum nexus is Sergei's weapon to attack Chicago, Elias whispered, handing over a USB drive. He hacks the power system, causing massive explosions. Zephyr plugged the USB into a laptop, scrolling through the data, a blueprint of the fortress in suburban Moscow, transaction lists, and images of Leora contacting Sergei. His heart sank. She was the traitor. She sold us out, he muttered. The pain of the past, the death of his family, mixing with the current anger. Elias nodded. She has been working for him from the start. Suddenly, the warehouse door burst open. Leora Wraith stepped in, handgun drawn, her gaze cold like a ghost. "You're faster than I thought," she said. The gun barrel aimed straight at him. Elias drew his gun, but Leora shot quickly, the bullet embedding in his shoulder. Blood spraying. Elias collapsed. Zephyr lunged in, delivering a Muay Thai kick to her hand, causing her to drop the gun. "Why?" "Leora," he shouted, the pain of betrayal cutting deep. She smirked. "Sergei pays more. The quantum nexus will give him power, and I will be a part of it." They clashed. A close combat battle erupted in the cramped warehouse. Leora swung a Krav Maga punch, hitting Zephyr's shoulder, causing sharp pain. He countered with a judo move, locking her arm and throwing her against a crate, the impact resonating. But she got back up, pulling a dagger from her shoe, stabbing repeatedly. Zephyr smoothly dodged, using Wing Chun to block the blade, then delivering a punch to her face, blood oozing from her mouth. "You're weak because of the past," she taunted, referencing his family's death in Moscow. Her words were like poison, igniting his anger. He lunged forward, choking her with Aikido, pushing her against the wall. But Leora kneed him in the stomach, breaking free, grabbing the gun. Gunfire erupted, the bullet grazing Zephyr's ear. He rolled, running outside, climbing the stairs to the warehouse roof. The Michigan Lake wind blew fiercely, snow falling lightly, the roof slippery beneath his feet. Leora chased after him, firing continuously. Zephyr ducked behind a chimney, pulling out his Beretta to shoot back, the bullet slamming into the concrete wall, debris flying. She climbed onto the roof, the two facing off under the grey sky. "End it," he said, his voice tense. Leora laughed. "You can't kill me. You still believe I'm an ally." The fight continued on the rooftop. Leora charged at him with the knife, stabbing quickly. Zephyr dodged, delivering a taekwondo kick to her shoulder, pushing her back. But she retaliated with a Muay Thai punch, hitting his chest, making him stagger near the edge of the roof. The wind howled, the shimmering lake below beckoning death. He gritted his teeth, using parkour to leap over the gap, lunging at her. The two struggled, knives and fists clashing coldly. Zephyr locked her arm, yanking the knife away. But Leora bit his hand, blood flowing. She broke free, grabbing the gun. Aiming straight. Your past was orchestrated by Sergei. And I helped him. The confession struck like lightning. Zephyr lunged forward before she could pull the trigger, delivering a Krav Maga punch to her wrist, making the gun fall from the roof. He choked her, pushing her against the railing. Why? Leora gasped. For power. Your family was just pawns. Pain flooded in. But he didn't kill her. Not now. He pushed her down, tying her hands with rope found on the roof. But the sound of a helicopter echoed from afar. Sergei's henchmen were coming. Leora sneered. You won't escape. Zephyr parkoured over to the adjacent rooftop, rolling to evade a barrage of bullets from the helicopter. He ran down the emergency stairs, jumping into a waiting car, speeding through the streets of Chicago. His heart raced. Trust completely shattered. Leora was a double agent, and Sergei was waiting in Moscow. He checked the USB from Elias. The plan to attack Chicago was only 48 hours away. The pain of betrayal mixed with a determination for revenge. He knew he had to gather new allies, infiltrate the fortress alone. But in his mind, the haunting question remained. Who else was a traitor? The lake wind blew fiercely, sweeping away his thoughts, urging him to move forward. Zephyr Nocturne gathered a small group of trusted allies to infiltrate Sergei Voidheart's fortress in suburban Moscow. They faced advanced security systems and consecutive martial arts battles, turning the infiltration into hell. Through this, Zephyr discovered that Sergei was a former superior in the Phantom Guard, and the quantum nexus was tied to a dark secret from his past, a device that indirectly caused the death of his family. After binding Leora Wraith and leaving her for the CIA to handle in Chicago, Zephyr Nocturne felt an emptiness in his heart like the aimless night wind. The betrayal from someone who was once a teammate pained him. But the USB from Elias was clear. Sergei Voidheart's fortress in suburban Moscow was where the quantum nexus was hidden. He couldn't wait. From a cafe by Lake Michigan, he contacted trustworthy old allies, those who had not been corrupted. We need to infiltrate, he said over the encrypted phone. The small group quickly assembled Kira Blaze, a sharpshooter with a Barrett, Theo Cypher, a genius hacker, and Ronan Fist, a close combat fighter who had trained with him in the Phantom Guard. They flew a night flight to Moscow, the plane shaking in the snowstorm. The cabin air was tense, the smell of black coffee mingling with gunpowder from hidden weapons. Zephyr sat silently, his gaze sweeping over the group. The fortress has security lasers, AI cameras, and mercenaries, he said, his voice low. Kira nodded. I'll provide support from afar. Theo smirked. I'll hack the system. Ronan clenched his fist. And I'll handle close combat. Zephyr nodded. But inside, the pain of the past surged. Sergei had once been a superior, the one who betrayed the organization. The quantum nexus was not just a weapon, it was the key to a secret he had yet to uncover. Landing at a small airport on the outskirts of Moscow, the snow covered everything in white, and the wind howled like a wolf. They rented an all-terrain vehicle, driving through the dark pine forest. The fortress appeared a solid concrete building surrounded by electric fences and watchtowers. Halogen lights swept across, casting long shadows on the snow. Kira hid on a high hill, her Barrett ready. Theo hacked from the vehicle, system down. Now lasers went dark. Cameras blinded. Zephyr and Ronan cut the fence, sneaking into the yard. Suddenly, the alarm sirens blared, a backup trap. 10 mercenaries rushed out from the gate, wearing black armor, AK-47 rifles at the ready. Zephyr dashed into the darkness, delivering a Muay Thai kick to the chest of the first man, sending him crashing into the snow wall. Ronan followed, throwing a karate punch that shattered the helmet of the second man. Blood splattering. A barrage of bullets from the AKs rained down. Zephyr rolled to evade, picking up stones to throw as a distraction. Kira shot from afar. A Barrett bullet pinned one man in the shoulder. He fell. But they were numerous. 3 men surrounded Ronan. Daggers glinting. Zephyr rushed to assist, using a judo move to lock the nearest man's arm, throwing him into the cold snow. The second man lunged with a knife. He smoothly dodged, unleashing a rapid Wing Chun series to the face and chest, causing the man to buckle. Ronan took down the last man with a Muay Thai punch to the chin. A crack echoed. They ran into the building. Theo hacked the main door open. Inside, a dark corridor. The smell of metal and sweat. Security lasers activated again. Glowing red. Zephyr used parkour to jump over. Ronan followed. A squad of soldiers rushed down the stairs. Glock handguns firing continuously. The battle continued in the narrow hallway. Zephyr dodged bullets, charging at the lead man, choking him with Krav Maga, forcing him to act as a shield. Bullets slammed into the armor, shaking him. He threw the man down, grabbed the Glock, and shot accurately at the legs of 2 other men. Ronan struggled with a burly man, throwing a karate punch, but the man retaliated with a heavy punch. Pushing Ronan against the wall, Zephyr charged in, delivering a spinning taekwondo kick to the man's head, knocking him out. Blood stained the floor. Breaths were heavy. They ran deeper. Theo guiding through the earpiece. The control room is in the basement. Descending into the basement. The air was as cold as a grave. Zephyr opened the door, seeing a laboratory with screens flashing quantum nexus data. But Sergei was not here. Only a hologram appeared, an image of Sergei smirking. "You're late, Zephyr. Quantum nexus is my legacy, and yours." The hologram recounted Sergei was once his superior in the Phantom Guard, created quantum nexus to control agents. But the experiment failed, causing the accident that killed his family. "I saved you from death, but you betrayed me," the hologram said. Zephyr clenched his fists, pain exploding. The dark secret: he was a product of the experiment. Quantum nexus had hacked his brain years ago. Suddenly, a trap activated, toxic gas spewed out. Mercenaries charged in from a side door. Zephyr donned a backup mask, diving into battle. One man swung a knife. He dodged, using Aikido to throw him down. Ronan took down 2 men with a series of karate moves. But the gas made him cough violently. Kira provided cover fire through the basement window, taking down 1 man. Zephyr hacked the server, deleting part of the data. But the core of Quantum Nexus had been taken away. They escaped outside, running through the snowy forest. Sergei's helicopter in pursuit. The all-terrain vehicle sped away. Snow flying everywhere. Zephyr knew Sergei had escaped, but the secrets of the past drove him. He had to end it to avenge. The group was breathless, their trust reinforced. But Moscow remained a trap. The climax was approaching, and Quantum Nexus was the final key. Could he face the past? Zephyr Nocturne gathered a small group of reliable allies to infiltrate Sergei Voidheart's fortress on the outskirts of Moscow. They faced advanced security systems and successive martial arts battles, turning the infiltration into hell. Through this, Zephyr discovered Sergei was once his old superior in the Phantom Guard, and Quantum Nexus was tied to a dark secret from his past, the device that indirectly caused his family's death. After tying up Leora Wraith and leaving her for the CIA to handle in Chicago, Zephyr Nocturne felt his heart empty like the directionless night wind. Betrayal from someone who was once a teammate pained him. But the USB from Elias had made it clear Sergei Voidheart's fortress on the outskirts of Moscow was where Quantum Nexus was hidden. He couldn't wait. From a lakeside cafe in Michigan, he contacted trusted old allies, those who had not been corrupted. "We need to infiltrate," he said over the encrypted phone. The small group quickly gathered Kira Blaze, a sharpshooter with a Barrett, Theo Cypher, a genius hacker, and Ronan Fist, a close combat fighter who had trained with him in the Phantom Guard. They flew a night flight to Moscow, the plane shaking in the snowstorm. The cabin air was tense, the smell of black coffee mingling with gunpowder from hidden weapons. Zephyr sat silently, his gaze sweeping over the group. The fortress has security lasers, AI cameras, and mercenaries, he said, his voice low. Kira nodded. I will provide support from afar. Theo smirked. I will hack the system. Ronan clenched his fists. And I will handle close combat. Zephyr nodded. But inside, the pain of the past surged. Sergei had once been his superior, the one who betrayed the organization. Quantum Nexus was not just a weapon, it was the key to a secret he had yet to uncover. Landing at a small airport on the outskirts of Moscow, the snow covered everything in white, and the wind howled like a wolf. They rented an all-terrain vehicle, driving through the dark pine forest. The fortress appeared a solid concrete building surrounded by electric fences and watchtowers. Halogen lights swept across, casting long shadows on the snow. Kira hid on a high hill, her Barrett ready. Theo hacked from the vehicle, system down. Now lasers went dark. Cameras blinded. Zephyr and Ronan cut the fence, sneaking into the yard. Suddenly, the alarm sirens blared, a backup trap. 10 mercenaries rushed out from the gate, wearing black armor, AK-47 rifles at the ready. Zephyr dashed into the darkness, delivering a Muay Thai kick to the chest of the first man, sending him crashing into the snow wall. Ronan followed, throwing a karate punch that shattered the helmet of the second man. Blood splattering. A barrage of bullets from the AKs rained down. Zephyr rolled to evade, picking up stones to throw as a distraction. Kira shot from afar. A Barrett bullet pinned one man in the shoulder. He fell. But they were numerous. 3 men surrounded Ronan, daggers glinting. Zephyr rushed to assist, using a judo move to lock the nearest man's arm, throwing him into the cold snow. The second man lunged with a knife. He smoothly dodged, unleashing a rapid Wing Chun series to the face and chest, causing the man to buckle. You're weak because of the past, she mocked, referring to his family dying in Moscow. Her words were like poison, igniting his anger. He charged forward, choking her with Aikido, pushing her against the wall. You can't kill me. You still believe I'm an ally. The fight continued on the rooftop. Leora lunged at him with a knife. Stabbing quickly, Zephyr dodged, delivering a spinning taekwondo kick to her shoulder, pushing her back. But she retaliated with a Muay Thai punch, hitting his chest, causing him to stagger near the edge of the roof. The wind from Lake Michigan blew fiercely, the shimmering water below like a deathly invitation. He gritted his teeth, using parkour to leap across the gap. Charging at her, the two grappled, knives and fists clashing coldly. Zephyr locked her arm, yanked the knife away, but Leora bit his hand. Blood flowing, she broke free, grabbed a gun. Aiming straight, your past was orchestrated by Sergei, and I helped him. The confession struck like lightning. Zephyr lunged before she could pull the trigger, choking her, pushing her against the railing. Why? Leora gasped. For power. Your family was just pawns. Pain flooded him. But he didn't kill her. Not now. He pushed her down, tying her hands with rope found on the roof. But the sound of a helicopter echoed from afar. Sergei's henchmen were coming. Leora scoffed. You won't escape. Zephyr parkoured over to the adjacent rooftop, rolling to evade a hail of bullets from the helicopter. He ran down the emergency stairs, leaping onto a parked car, speeding through the streets of Chicago. His heart raced. Trust completely shattered. Leora was a double agent. And Sergei was waiting in Moscow. He checked the USB from Elias. The plan to attack Chicago was only 48 hours away. The pain of betrayal mixed with a determination for revenge. He knew he had to gather new allies, infiltrate the fortress alone. But in his mind, the haunting question remained, who else would betray him? The lake wind blew fiercely, sweeping away his thoughts, pushing him forward. Inside the fortress, Zephyr Nocturne confronted Sergei Voidheart in a fierce hand-to-hand battle. Interspersed with gunfire, Leora Wraith returned with intentions of redemption, but was killed by Sergei. Zephyr destroyed part of Quantum Nexus, but Sergei escaped with the core of the device, leading to a chase through the snowy forest. The all-terrain vehicle rolled through the snowy Moscow forest, the engine roaring over the howling wind. Zephyr Nocturne gripped the wheel tightly, blood from a small wound seeping out. But adrenaline kept him alert, behind. Sergei Voidheart's helicopter pursued, its spotlight sweeping through the trees like a monster's eye. Kira Blaze provided cover fire from the hill. A Barrett bullet grazed the rotor, but the helicopter maneuvered away. Ronan Fist sat beside him, wiping blood from his knuckles. We have to go back. The Quantum Nexus core is still in the fortress. Zephyr nodded, his gaze sharp. The secrets from the hologram still haunted him. He was Sergei's product. Quantum Nexus had once hacked his brain, indirectly killing his family. The pain felt like toxic wind, driving him to turn the vehicle around. Charging back into the fortress, the group sneaked through the broken side gate, the thick snow concealing their tracks. Inside, the hallway was darker, the smell of toxic gas lingering. Theo Cypher hacked from afar. The deepest basement. Sergei is there. They raced down the spiral staircase, the sound of hurried footsteps echoing. Suddenly, the basement door opened. Sergei Voidheart stood in the laboratory, the green light from Quantum Nexus illuminating his face, a heart of void, eyes cold as snow. You've arrived. My adopted son, he sneered, holding the glimmering core of the device. Kira and Ronan surrounded him, but Sergei signaled. Mercenaries charged out from the shadows. The battle erupted. Zephyr lunged at Sergei, delivering a Krav Maga punch to his face. Sergei dodged, countering with a karate kick, pushing him back. I created you, he roared. Ronan struggled with two soldiers, throwing Muay Thai punches, shattering one man's armor. Kira shot from the doorway, taking down one, but another man lunged forward, choking her. Zephyr was distracted. Sergei pulled out a handgun, firing a volley. He rolled to evade, picking up a fallen knife, charging into close combat. Knife and fist clashed. Blood splattered. Sergei stabbed with a curved knife, grazing Zephyr's shoulder. A sharp pain. He countered with a judo move, locking Sergei's arm, throwing him onto the laboratory table. Glass shattering everywhere. Ronan took down the man choking Kira. But more soldiers rushed in. Machine guns firing. The room shook. Debris flying. Zephyr used parkour to jump over a table, delivering a spinning taekwondo kick to Sergei's chest, pushing him against the wall. End it, he growled. Choking him with aikido, Sergei broke free, pulled out a gun, firing close. A bullet grazed Zephyr's ear, searing hot. The man laughed. Quantum Nexus hacked you. You are my weapon. His words stirred memories the experiment years ago. Horrific headaches. The accident that killed his family. Pain exploded. Zephyr charged in with a rapid Wing Chun series, striking Sergei's face and chest, blood oozing from his mouth. Suddenly, the basement door swung open. Leora Wraith rushed in. Gun at the ready, she had escaped from the CIA, returning to make amends. "Stop." "Sergei," she yelled, shooting him in the shoulder. Sergei spun around, firing back, the bullet pinning Leora in the chest. She collapsed, blood flowing, her gaze on Zephyr. "I'm sorry." "Save Chicago." She fell, dying in a pool of blood. Zephyr roared, the pain of betrayal morphing into rage. He charged at Sergei, choking him, throwing him onto the Quantum Nexus server. The device shattered, sparks flying. But the main core remained intact. Sergei snatched it. Fleeing towards the emergency exit, the group chased after him. But the explosion from the server spread. The room shook. Zephyr pushed Ronan and Kira outside. They ran through the collapsing hallway, bursting out into the snowy forest. Sergei jumped onto a snowmobile, the Quantum Nexus core in hand. Speeding away, Zephyr jumped onto the all-terrain vehicle, revving the engine to chase through the white pine forest. The snowstorm whipped against his face, trees flying past. Kira shot from behind, grazing Sergei's vehicle. He turned back, firing a machine gun, bullets smashing into the windshield. Zephyr swerved, leaping over a snow mound, colliding with his vehicle. The two vehicles flipped over, rolling several times on the cold snow. Zephyr crawled out, blood flowing. But he stood up. Sergei was running, the device core in hand. The foot chase began, feet sinking deep into the snow. Zephyr caught up, lunging at him from behind, choking him with Krav Maga. They struggled in the snow, fists and knives clashing. Sergei stabbed, grazing his chest. "You won't win," he roared. Zephyr dodged, delivering a Muay Thai punch to the chin, causing him to stagger. But Sergei broke free, jumping onto a waiting helicopter, disappearing into the snow. Zephyr knelt in the snow, panting. The device core left behind? No. He took it with him. The group caught up. Ronan pulled him up. He escaped. But we have the data. Zephyr clenched his fists, the pain of losing Leora mingling with determination. Sergei was still alive, and the attack on Chicago was imminent. The Moscow snowy forest was silent. But the storm was approaching. Returning to Chicago after the failed chase in Moscow, Zephyr Nocturne discovered Sergei Voidheart was preparing to activate Quantum Nexus remotely to destroy the city. He coordinated with the CIA and his ally group to stop it, leading to dramatic street battles amidst falling snow and neon lights. The truth about the death of Zephyr's loved ones was revealed through the acquired data, driving him to confront Sergei one last time on an iconic bridge, where everything would come to an end. The plane landed at O'Hare Airport in Chicago, the engine noise fading amidst the heavy snowfall. Zephyr Nocturne stepped out, the cold wind from Lake Michigan hitting his face, carrying the familiar smell of thawing water. After the chase through the snowy forest in Moscow, he and the group, Kira Blaze, Theo Cypher, Ronan Fist, were exhausted but determined. Sergei Voidheart had escaped with the Quantum Nexus core, and the data from the fortress indicated he was activating the device remotely, intending to hack Chicago's power system to cause a massive explosion. Only 24 hours left, Theo said, typing on the laptop in the van. Zephyr clenched his fists, his gaze sharp. The secrets from the hologram still haunted him. Quantum Nexus not only hacked his brain but was also the cause of the accident that killed his family, a failed experiment by Sergei to control him as a weapon. They drove into the city center, coordinating with the CIA through a secret channel. The temporary headquarters was in a high-rise building by the Chicago River, neon lights reflecting beautifully on the frozen water. CIA agent, named Lena, was waiting. We detected a signal from Moscow. But Sergei is using a proxy in Chicago. We need to destroy the connection point. Zephyr nodded, but his heart was heavy. New data revealed his family didn't die out of revenge, but because Quantum Nexus hacked wrong, causing a car accident. Sergei concealed this to keep him as an adopted son. The pain was like a raging wind, driving him to end everything. Suddenly, the alarm sirens blared. Raid Lena shouted. Sergei's henchman, clad in black armor, kicked through the windows from the upper floor, dropping ropes to descend. Chaos erupted in the room. Zephyr lunged at the first man, delivering a Krav Maga punch to his throat, causing him to buckle. Ronan followed, throwing a Muay Thai punch that shattered the armor of the second man. Blood splattering. Kira pulled out her short Barrett, sniping from the corner. A bullet pinned one man in the shoulder, but they were numerous. 8 men charged in. Glock handguns firing continuously. The walls crumbled, shards of glass falling. Zephyr rolled to evade, grabbing a chair as a shield. Rushing out into the hallway. To the street, he shouted. The group ran down the emergency stairs, henchmen chasing after them. Outside, the heavy snow fell. The streets of Chicago, slippery under the shimmering neon lights. 2 black SUVs sped towards them from the end of the street, blocking their way. Zephyr parkoured over parked cars, delivering a spinning taekwondo kick to the chest of the driver who jumped out, sending him crashing into a lamppost. Ronan struggled with 2 men, using judo to throw one down, karate punching the other in the face. Kira shot from behind the van, taking down 1 man, but a barrage of bullets from the SUV smashed into the windshield, shattering it. The battle spread to the streets. Zephyr dashed through the traffic, dodging bullets that scattered snow. A guy lunged at him with a dagger. He smoothly sidestepped, using Wing Chun to block the blade, then unleashed a flurry of punches to the face and chest, causing the guy to buckle. Blood stained the white snow, warm and fresh. Following a hack of the traffic lights from a distance, chaos ensued to provide cover. But Sergei called for reinforcements. 3 more guys rushed out from the dark alley, MP5 machine guns firing continuously. Zephyr pushed Kira down behind the car, returning fire with a Beretta, taking 1 guy down at the leg. Ronan shouted, knocked down, blood flowing from his head. Zephyr rushed to help, choking the attacker with Aikido, throwing him into a trash can. Keep going, he growled. They ran towards the river, where the Quantum Nexus connection was hidden in an abandoned factory. The henchmen followed closely, the SUV speeding after them, tires sliding on the snow. Zephyr spun the van 180 degrees, facing the enemy, shooting out the tire of the leading SUV. The vehicle flipped over, crashing into a power pole, flames erupting amidst the snow. But the guy finally jumped out, swinging a grenade launcher. A flash of light burst from the barrel, the grenade flying towards them. Zephyr hit the gas to dodge, exploding the corner of the street. Debris flying everywhere. He jumped out of the vehicle, lunging at the guy, using Krav Maga to lock his arm and break it. The crack echoed amidst the screams. The group reached the factory. Theo hacked the door open. Inside, the server flickered with signals from Moscow. Activate in 10 minutes, Theo shouted. Zephyr smashed the machine. But the hologram of Sergei appeared. You can't stop it. Your family died because of you. The experiment on you failed. Spreading to them, the man's words cut like a knife. Revealing the truth, Zephyr volunteered for the experiment to save the organization. But the Quantum Nexus hack went wrong, causing the accident. Pain exploded. He punched the hologram, erasing the data. But the signal still ran. The main node at the iconic bridge by the river. The last henchman charged in, but Ronan took him down with a Muay Thai punch. They dashed out. Running towards the bridge under the falling snow, Zephyr clenched his fist. Determined he had to confront Sergei one last time on the bridge. Avenge his family. And save Chicago. The neon lights sparkled. The wind howled. The climax was approaching. Would he overcome the pain of the past? The climactic battle on the iconic bridge in Chicago with Sergei Voidheart, where Zephyr Nocturne used all his skills to take him down and destroy the quantum nexus. It ended with the sacrifice of an ally and a big surprise. Sergei was just a pawn of a larger force, forcing Zephyr to face a new threat. He chose to continue the path of justice, leaving echoes of uncertain future battles. Heavy snow fell on the streets of Chicago, turning the road into a slippery ice layer under the sparkling neon lights. Zephyr Nocturne ran through the chaotic traffic, his breath coming out in white puffs. Behind him, the group of allies, Kira Blaze, Theo Cypher, Ronan Fist, followed closely. Guns at the ready. The abandoned factory had just been destroyed, but the quantum nexus signal still ran, the main node at the iconic bridge by the Chicago River, where Sergei Voidheart was waiting to activate it. The wind from Lake Michigan howled like a wolf, carrying a pungent smell and a sense of impending doom. Zephyr clenched his fist. The pain from the truth about his family, Sergei's failed experiment, cut into his heart. It ends tonight, he murmured, charging towards the bridge. The bridge appeared before him, the massive cables sparkling under the falling snow. The river below frozen and dark. Sergei stood in the middle of the bridge, the quantum nexus core in his hand, the screen flashing a red number 5 minutes to activation. He laughed loudly, the wind blowing his black coat. You arrived just in time, Zephyr, but it's too late to save Chicago. His henchmen, 6 mercenaries, surrounded him, AK rifles at the ready. Kira knelt behind the railing, aiming a Barrett. I'll provide cover. Ronan clenched his fist. Close combat is mine. Theo hacked remotely. I'll temporarily block the signal. Zephyr nodded, charging in like the night wind. The battle erupted on the slippery bridge. Zephyr dodged a barrage of bullets from the AK, rolling behind a parked car, then delivering a Muay Thai kick to the chest of the nearest guy, sending him flying into the railing. The sound of metal clashing echoed. Ronan charged at 2 guys, throwing karate punches that shattered one's helmet. Blood splattering on the snow. Kira sniped from afar, a bullet pinning a guy's shoulder. He fell, but Sergei drew a handgun, firing rapidly at Zephyr. He used parkour to jump over the railing, dodging bullets that sent snow flying, then lunged back at the 3rd soldier, choking him with Krav Maga, throwing him down onto the frozen bridge. Sergei sneered, "You're strong, but the quantum nexus will hack everything, even you." He activated the core, the screen glowing red. Zephyr charged forward, dodging a knife from the last soldier, using a judo move to lock the arm and break it. The crack echoing amidst the howling wind. Ronan struggled with the big guy, landing a Muay Thai punch to the chin. But the guy retaliated with a heavy punch, pushing Ronan against the railing. The railing broke. Ronan dangled over the glacier river. "Hold on," Zephyr shouted, rushing to pull Ronan up. But the soldier stabbed him from behind. Kira shot the guy down, but it was too late. The knife grazed Ronan's back, blood flowing. The climactic showdown with Sergei. He lunged at Zephyr, swinging a curved knife for a quick stab. Zephyr smoothly dodged, unleashing a series of Wing Chun strikes to the man's face and chest, blood oozing from his mouth. "My family died because of you," he roared, the pain exploding into strength. Sergei responded with a karate kick, pushing him back towards the slippery railing. The wind howled fiercely, the bridge shaking under the chaotic vehicles. Zephyr used Aikido to lock the guy's arm, throwing him down into the snow. the knife falling, but Sergei broke free, picked up a gun, aiming straight. I am not the mastermind. I am just a pawn of the Shadow Collective, a greater force controlling everything. His words struck like lightning. Zephyr was stunned. Sergei was just the surface. A larger organization stood behind the quantum nexus, manipulating the Phantom Guard from the start. But there was no time to think. Sergei pulled the trigger. The bullet grazed Zephyr's shoulder. Hot and stinging, he charged forward, delivering a spinning taekwondo kick to the man's chest, pushing him back. The two wrestled on the bridge, fists and knives clashing coldly. Ronan, severely injured, charged in to help, choking Sergei from behind. Finish it, but Sergei broke free, stabbing the knife into Ronan's chest. Ronan collapsed, blood staining the snow red, whispering, "Save." The city. He fell, sacrificing himself for Zephyr to grab the quantum nexus core. Zephyr roared, the pain of losing an ally mixed with rage. He stomped hard on the core, the device shattering under his heel. Sparks flying. The screen went dark. The signal stopped. Chicago was saved. Sergei sneered, blood oozing from his mouth. The Shadow Collective will find you. He staggered, lunging into the railing, falling into the glacier river below, disappearing into the darkness. Zephyr knelt beside Ronan, the wind howling around the bridge, snow falling over his ally's body. Kira and Theo rushed over, pulling him up. We won. But Zephyr shook his head, his gaze distant towards the sparkling Lake Michigan. A big surprise, the phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. The Shadow Collective greets you. Sergei is just the beginning. Zephyr clenched his fists, realizing the fight was not over. A greater force was waiting, manipulating from the shadows. He stood up, wiping the blood from his face, turning to the group. We continue. The night wind swept away the snow, carrying echoes of tragedy. Zephyr chose the path of justice, a lone agent against the underground world. But deep down, the haunting question remained: who is the real enemy? The iconic bridge stood silent. Chicago safe. But a new storm was approaching.